Is your preteen or teen so obsessed with their cell phone that that's the only thing they want to do during the day and at night, and you are not sure how to handle that situation, or you don't even know what to do? If this is you, you don't want to miss this week's episode. Hello there, welcome to Parenting Hacks with Dr. Yanina. As always, I'm super grateful to you for tuning in, for watching this week's episode. And as you know, in this show, I share practical strategies, tips, and ideas on how to stay connected and have healthier and stronger relationships with your preteens and teens. And I also cover all issues related to raising preteens and teens. And in this week's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 2 out of 4 tips when it comes to dealing with your teen's obsession with their phone. This is going to be a 2-part series. So in this week, I'm going to be sharing 2 tips, and next week, I'm going to be sharing 2 more tips if you have a child that is constantly on the phone, checking their social media, and they seem obsessed with their phone. So if this is you, I am so excited that you're tuning in today because, that is something that is happening nowadays. This is an issue that we parents are facing. Most of teenagers and preteens are constantly on the phone. And the truth is that they have all kinds of access through their phone, and they can be quite entertained for hours and hours and hours because of all the things that they have access to. We're talking about social media, we're talking about texting, internet, video streaming, movie streaming, anything and everything they have access to. So it can be quite disturbing when you're seeing your child constantly on the phone, not even having conversations with other people because they're constantly on the phone. And if this is your child and you're concerned, hey, I completely understand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing, as I said, 2 practical tips that you can try this week with your child when it comes to cell phone control. One thing I do not do is to encourage parents to take away their kids' phone. Why? Because I would rather have you teach your child self-control. Because once they leave your home, they will have access to these cell phones and tablets and internet and everything. And, by then, you're not going to be able to take their phones away, right? So instead of taking their phones away, I really want you to focus on teaching them self-control. So one of the things you can do is to create a check-in policy. The truth is that if your child is sleeping with their cell phone in their room or any electronic device, they are probably not sleeping enough. Unless you believe that your child has self-control, they're probably, busy texting and checking social media, or probably watching a show until late at night, and you don't know what they're doing because they are in the room and you're probably sleeping. So one of the things that you might want to do is, as I said, to create that check-in policy in which these devices can be removed from their bedroom at night until they prove that they can handle having their devices. And one thing you can do is to create a plan in which your children can check in the devices at a certain time of the evening before heading to bed, and you keep them, and then you can do a checkout in the morning as well before you head out to work or everybody starts their day. So that's one thing you can do, that create a check-in and check-out policy. That's something you might want to try. And during the night, the devices stay with you and not in their bedrooms. And one thing that you can do, if your children use their phones as an alarm, you can always get those alarm clocks that they sell in any stores out there. So that should not be a reason why you should avoid doing this type of check-in, check-out policy. The second suggestion or parenting hack that I have for you today is to establish a device-free zones. So there are certain times of the day or certain areas or places that your children should not have their devices on. It's important that we set boundaries on device use within different settings because, again, we want to teach our children to have self-control. For example, in my family, we do not use cell phones during our meals. When we're having breakfast, lunch, or dinner, when we're eating, we do not use devices. So those are our free device zones. And if we go out for dinner, the same policy applies when we are outside. It doesn't matter that we go to a restaurant, or if we go to a friend's house, or we go somewhere else for dinner or breakfast or lunch. Regardless of where we are, no one is allowed to use devices. Of course, one thing that I want you to consider is the fact that having a phone is a privilege. It's not a right. So it's important that we let our children know that because they have a phone doesn't mean that they have the right to be using it over and over. As a matter of fact, it's a privilege, especially if you, mom, are paying for the bill. If you are paying for the bill, of course, you have all the right, when we're talking about rights, all the right to set those boundaries, to teach your child self-control. So don't feel that you don't want to set boundaries because you want to, invade their privacy. Well, some people think that way, but I'm here to encourage you to see it in which that you're the one paying for the bill. Therefore, you set the boundaries. When they are paying for their own bill, they have their own place, they have their own life. That's a total different ballgame. But in the meantime, you're here to teach them to have self-control and understand that there are places and circumstances in which using the device is not appropriate and that they have to exercise that self-control. So there you have it, Mom. 2 of my 4 tips on how to deal with your child being obsessed with the use of cell phones. Next week, I'm going to be sharing with you 2 more tips that you might want to consider if this is an issue that you are dealing with at home. So do not miss next week's episode in which I share those 2 additional tips. As always, I encourage you to check out my website at www.dryaninagomez.com to check out the resources I have available. And if you are watching this video on Instagram TV, IGTV, I encourage you to follow me, follow my Instagram account. Or if you are watching this in YouTube, in my YouTube channel, I really, really encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.